a suggestion from Tracy in Oregon. Well, not so much a suggestion, but she asked me the question, what do I do when I'm knitting along and I find there's a knot in my yarn where it doesn't belong? Well, first thing you do is you throw a fit, because there's no reason to ever have a knot in the middle of your yarn and to discover it when you're working. Especially if you're paying for luxury yarn, you don't want to see a knot like that. But it happens. And chances are you can't just knit past it. You need to address the problem because it will show in your work. Or even if you're knitting along and you feel like you got the ends poking out in the back of your work, the first time you wear that sweater, the ends are probably going to poke out the front. You do have to deal with it. Now, the good news is if you're using 100% wool or another animal fiber, you can just spit splice. And I'll give you a link here to my spit splicing video. That's a way of actually grafting, cutting the knot out and grafting the two ends of yarn together seamlessly so you can keep knitting without having to do anything else. But really, for any other time, or if you're worried about the carefully plied yarn showing the spit splice in the work, you need to tink back, take out every stitch going back to a convenient place in the work and actually attach, cut out the knot and attach the yarn again like a new ball of yarn. Now, if you're working on a scarf or something, that's simple enough. You just go back to the beginning of the row and add the new ball of yarn. If you're working on something more complicated, like let's say a raglan sweater that's knit in the round from the top down, your best bet is to tink back to a place that's going to be the least conspicuous, which is maybe at the increases. The place you want to avoid is a sea of stockinette. You don't want to change to a new ball of yarn in the place in the sweater where you want it to be the smoothest and the nicest looking fabric. So you need to find some place in the fabric where something else is going on. And for a top-down raglan sweater, that would be at any one of the increases in the front or back of the sweater. So the first thing to do is determine how far you have to go back to a place where you can attach a new ball of yarn, and then cut out the knot and keep going from there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the sample that I've put together. I have this little bit of flat knitting here, and this is a pretty easy example. I've put a really terrible knot right here in the work, and I've let myself knit up until the knot's almost there in my work. And because this is a flat piece, I know exactly where I have to go. I have to tink, which is the word knit backwards. I'm going to unknit these stitches to get back to the beginning of the row, cut out the knot, and attach the yarn like a new ball of yarn. So if you've never seen tinking before, all I'm going to do is take the tip of my left needle and put it into the stitch below, slide that over, and pull the working yarn to pop out that stitch. In there, slide it over, pull it out. And then when I come to a purl stitch, actually that was not a purl stitch, I'm going to take it down one more. You want to pull the yarn, whoops, I've already done that one, okay. Let me tink out to the back here, and then I want to show you how to tink out a purl stitch, because that row didn't have any purl stitches. Okay, to tink out a purl stitch, I'm going to keep my working yarn in front, put my needle into the stitch below, slide it off, and pull the working yarn. Working yarn's in front, into the stitch below, and then I go back to knit stitches, pull the yarn back between the two needles, into the stitch below, into the stitch below. You see, this is a way of working backwards through stitches without ever leaving live stitches hanging there so they can unravel. But I just took out more than I needed to, so I will knit back up to where I am here. Okay, so here's my knot. First things first, get rid of that knot. That's gone. Now I have this end hanging here, and I have my yarn that I'm ready to attach like a new ball. To do that, I can either spit splice or I can do this. I'm going to put my needle in like I'm ready to start knitting a stitch, take my new ball of yarn and fold it over, leaving about a 6-inch tail. Wrap the needle with that and pull the stitch through. Now the new yarn's essentially attached here. I'm going to knit one more stitch. You can drop the tail end and just knit a stitch there. Then what I do is I take the two ends, the two short ends, and I tie them in a very tight knot. And then I can go back and weave in the ends when I'm finished with my project. But from here, I just keep working. You can keep going knowing that your work is going to look nice without the ends of a knot poking through. Again, many thanks to Tracy for giving me this idea for a video, and good luck.